Hello everybody, Patrick here, and today we are continuing our look at Age of the Primes with another of the 13 Primes. Today we are looking at the Warrior of Light, the firstborn Cybertronian, Prima. Now, before we really take a look at him, let's take a look at his box. So, as you can see, Transformers Age of the Primes, the 13, Prima, Hasbro. We can get a nice, decent little look at Prima right here. Yeah. Box art looks great. Side of the box, you have the other three of the other statues. You know, obviously the one containing Prima. On the back, we have Prima opening the Matrix. We have Prima, the Star Saber. Da-da-da. Wonderful artwork of Prima right there. Transformers Age of the Primes, Prima the 13. Words, things, Prima the 13. And, yeah. So, let's take... Again, before we take a look at Prima, let's take a look at his relic. Just like how Solus had the Forge, Prima has the Star Saber. Primarily based off its look in Transformers Prime. And yeah, it looks really cool. Has the Matrix right there, which is removable. Let's take a look at that really quickly. Same Matrix mold we've gotten since Earthrise. Only it's painted, painted more of a light white silver, metallic white, I guess. But yeah, and it fits just right here into the hilt of the Star Saber, which has a nice transparent blue blade. And yeah, here it is next to the Armada Star Saber, which was released with Armada Starscream. As you can see, two very different looks for the Star Saber. One is also significantly larger. I didn't grab my Fans Hobby Saber team to compare, but you know. Now the Star Saber can store a multitude of different ways. There's a port right here and a port right here, and you know, peg. So you can just plug it in right here. You can plug it in right here. There's a port here, which I believe is more for robot mode, but, you know, you can still plug it on right here and just shink. However, if you split it apart like this, I typically have the Matrix in his chest all the time, so, you know. So, I mean, you can still store with the Matrix in, I just, you know, for now, I'm just going to keep it right here, even though right now it's upside down. Take the Saber, there's a hole right in there, which will slot in, and you have the blade. Come under here, there is a little port right there. You can just plug the hilt in right there. And he still rolls. Well, ooh. Maybe you can't actually store that with that, because with the Matrix in the hilt, it actually inhibited the rolling. Yeah. Anyway, let's just set the Star Saber off to the side, so we can take a look at Prima's vehicle mode, which, reminds me of a mixture of a Cybertruck and a, Mars rover. Is like if Elon Musk made a van instead of the Cybertruck, the Cyber van, which does not bode well for it. It is a really weird looking vehicle mode. It doesn't have obvious Earth influence like Solus. It is definitely more alien, which in a way I appreciate, but again, it almost looks like something Elon made for the prototype of the Cybertruck. Which I don't like the Cybertruck. I don't like Elon. So, but yeah. That being said, it does look kind of decent, you know. It's not the worst Cybertronian vehicle mode I've ever seen. But yeah, as you can see, it rolls like a fucking dream. That's something I've noticed with all three of the current, the primes that have been released so far. Keep in mind, I'm filming this, like, April 25th, so... and I do not live in Canada, so I've not been able to get Alchemist. All of the primes so far roll beautifully. Like, all the rolling vehicles in this line so far roll fucking beautifully. But anyway, for comparison, here he is with his sister, Solus. Here he is with his descendant, Optimus. Devastation Optimus. Here he is with his wave mate, Red Alert, a woo 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 woo. But, yeah. Yeah. Personally, I'm really liking the way the 13 are coming out so far. That being said, the vehicle modes are decent. You definitely don't buy these guys for the vehicle modes, though. So, let's get to what you do buy these figures for, the robot mode. But before we get to that, actually, the designer, Mark Clonis, did show off that you can, do, like, a hovercraft. You know, like how in War for Cybertron, you could, or they all had, like, hover modes, and you just do this and hover mode. As a bonus, I like to, rotate Prima's head. And if you notice the way his head sits, that is why you cannot have his head like this when it's rolling, because it won't roll. But yeah, so yeah, you can do the hover thing. Whoop-de-doo. I'm kidding. I actually use a little extra hover mode more often than not. Also, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but if I have the tires all the way up like this, they scrape against the bicep, so like it rolls, it just doesn't roll as good unless I'm like pushing down hard. So I typically leave them like out just slightly, so that way it clears whatever it's, you know, catching on. And it still rolls beautifully. Anyway, so transformation. I'm going to raise my camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. So first thing I do is I, you know, bring the shoulder pads out, and I bring this bumper up, which tabs into the shoulders. Then you just kind of bring the legs back like this and unfold them. Bring the feet down. And just kind of shift the wheels inside here. Shift the wheels in. And now, the knees do snap into place like that, which is like how my legs are naturally when I'm standing straight up. But I typically just leave them bent like that and then bend the foot, which gives it a different slope, but you know, it works better than this. So, you know, just something worth pointing out. Anyway, you're going to want to take the arms, kind of split them from here, bring the section back. You're going to want to flip the head up, take the wheels, and rotate them inward, which would have been just as effective in vehicle mode, but you know, whatever. Rotate the, you know, that. Bring the arms down, and then collapse the back up, and make sure, you know, kind of looks like this. Squeeze that together. Bring the shoulder pads up, just kind of out of the way for the moment. We are going to want to bring the fist out. And about that, you are then going to want to rotate the bicep like this, so the curve is facing away. and close up the arm. And do the same thing on this side. You can also just kind of close up the arm and rotate the bicep in a fluid motion like that. And there we have him. There is Age of the Primes Prima Prime in robot mode. And honestly, I really dig his look. The head is a little plain, but then again, that is G1. The rest of the body is completely different from the G1 model that was retconned into being Prima, but whatever. But yeah, he looks really good. Again, the head is a little plain. I wish he had more color. Because while I get, being white, symbol of light, all of that, it could have at least been painted and actually pristine white, not this kind of weird off-white. Like, I think it's actually the same. It's not the same, but it's kind of a similar gray. I wish it was more this white, but, we'll get into that a little bit later when we actually do the comparisons. Speaking of comparisons, here he is with Devastation Optimus. His wavemate, Red Alert, a woo 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 woo. And his sister, Solus. So, yeah. Yeah. Articulation. His head is on a ball joint. You can get a little bit of wiggly waggly. 360 degrees of rotation. You can look up a good amount. Can't really look down, but whatever. Shoulders. Whoa. Shoulders rotate full 360. Shoulder pads can get out of the way to accommodate any pose. Bicep rotation. Wrist rotation. I believe it's on a ball joint, actually. Yeah, it's on a ball joint. And opening hands. He does not have butterfly joints like Solus. Oh well. He does have a backwards ab crunch if you want to use that. But that joint is more for transformation. You can swing his hip skirts up so you can access his rotating waist. I don't know why the hip skirts are on this part and not his actual waist, but because then if you move it slightly, it just doesn't look quite as good. But he can kick forward that far, backwards about that far, outwards. He can do the full splits, thigh rotation, which is really stiff. Knees can go back that far. Again, I think they're supposed to be like this because they click like this, or not click, but they thoop. And transformation, you do it like this, not like this. So I don't know. The feet can move forward a little bit, can move back slightly, tilt, and yeah. Of course, that's not the only stuff he can do, because he can hold. Let me reassemble it. The Star Saber. Oh, that's the wrong way. I dropped the Matrix. The Star Saber. You can hold it in his hand. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. You can even plug it onto his arm if you want, or his shoulder. To store it, you are supposed to use this little, port right here. However, you can also use the, port from in the front of the, never mind, I guess. But yeah. And, being that he comes with a matrix, it only makes sense that he can store said matrix. So, get your finger under here, open that up. And there is his matrix chamber, which you can just nicely slot the matrix into. Which is where I usually keep his matrix, but But yeah, so there is Age of the Primes, Prima Prime. Honestly, I quite like this figure. I don't know if I like him as much as I do Solus or Megatronus. Spoiler for the next review. But he is still a decent figure. I wish he was painted white, like Red Alert here. As you can see, there is a very big difference between the whites. You know, Prima is more of an off-white, meanwhile, Red Alert is white. He's neon white, like me. But, he's still a good, decent little figure. Yeah. So, we are 2/3 of the way done with the primes that I currently have. 2/3? Yeah, 2/3. Also, I'm just gonna say this. I will probably be skipping Vector Prime, and will definitely be skipping Star Convoy. Or Star Optimus. But, yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace.